Many see Adam Smith as the patron saint of cutthroat capitalism. He is a caricature invoked on trading floors and in boardrooms as the ultimate defender of Wall Street profit culture. This reputation was crafted in the mid-20th century by the Chicago School of Economics. Milton Friedman famously wore a necktie decorated with tiny cameo portraits of Smith, turning a dead philosopher into a badge for the free market cause. By the 1980s, Smith's name justified massive political shifts toward deregulation. His theories provided the intellectual cover for a new era of global trade and the dismantling of state controls. This interpretation rests on a specific gospel: the absolute necessity of laissez-faire markets and the invisible hand, a mechanism that supposedly guides self-interest toward the public good without any help from the government. But Smith never used the term laissez-faire. And in the 900 pages of his seminal text, the phrase invisible hand appears exactly once. The historical Adam Smith was a shy, stammering Scottish academic who lived with his mother until he was an old man. He talked to himself on long walks, smiled at things no one else could see, and often fell into trances in the middle of the street. His absent-mindedness was legendary. While enthusiastically explaining the division of labor to a friend, he walked straight off a wooden plank and fell into a tanning pit filled with nauseous fat and lime. Smith held the chair of moral philosophy at the University of Glasgow. He focused his life's work on human empathy and social conduct, viewing the economy as a subset of human morality. To understand the actual engine of the modern economy, we have to rescue the real Adam Smith from 2 centuries of deliberate misunderstanding. 17 years before his economics work, Smith published his first and favorite book, The Theory of Moral Sentiments. He examined a human contradiction. Creatures wired for self-preservation still find ways to care for one another. He called this sympathy. It was his term for the innate, involuntary human drive to feel what others are feeling, the way our own stomachs tighten when we watch a friend receive bad news. Smith argued we regulate behavior through the impartial spectator, an internalized judge, a stranger in the mind evaluating our conduct fairly. His friendship with the atheist David Hume pushed him to find a secular, psychological basis for morality without divine instruction. Smith built his worldview on the premise that humans possess a natural desire to be moral and to be seen as good by their peers. The Wealth of Nations had a remarkably mundane origin. Smith began drafting it out of sheer boredom while tutoring a young duke in a quiet French town with no libraries and very few intellectuals. He used a pin factory to show how the division of labor unlocks incredible economic productivity. 10 men dividing the work across 18 distinct steps could produce 48,000 pins in a single day, a task that would be impossible for one man working alone. His hatred of monopolies came from his time at Oxford. He observed professors paid from endowments, regardless of whether they taught, leading to intellectual rot that he later compared to trade guilds and heavily protected national industries. Smith harbored a deep suspicion of capitalists. He warned that people of the same trade seldom meet together without the conversation ending in a conspiracy against the public or a plan to raise prices. He feared that mindlessly repetitive factory work would lead to mental mutilation, making workers as completely ignorant as humanly possible. To prevent this, he demanded government-funded public education for the laboring poor. Smith designed his economic blueprint as a defense of the working class against corporate overreach. In the 19th century, ideologues began to purposefully strip the moral philosophy from Smith's work. They created Homo economicus, a cold, rational calculator of profit that Smith himself likely would have despised. The 1976 bicentennial allowed the Chicago School to cement this narrative. They marketed the Wealth of Nations as a twin to the Declaration of Independence, claiming both stood for a world where the state simply stayed out of the way. This created what scholars call Das Adam Smith problem, the false claim that Smith's 2 books represent opposing worldviews. To Smith, there was no conflict. He believed that the marketplace and the moral world were part of the same human experience. Smith saw humans as amphibious creatures. We are driven by self-interest when we trade and by sympathy when we live in a community. A functional society requires the invisible hand to generate wealth, but it also requires the impartial spectator to cultivate justice and keep greed from destroying the social fabric. Smith's work challenges the modern observer to look at an economic system and ask if it is right, rather than simply if it is efficient. He leaves us with a warning that without moral philosophy, the marketplace becomes a jungle.